Hello everyone. So in this particular session, we are going to discuss histogram and its application. In fact, we are going to discuss all the important graphs which we can draw in data science and how it can help us in predicting any kind of pattern from the data that I will be explaining in this particular session. So let's begin. So let's talk about the first thing, and that is, why do we need histograms? So after collecting data from any of the source, so whenever we collect data from any source, either we are collecting it from online platform, or we are scrapping it from some website, or it's a social media data or any kind of data, the first thing which we are interested is in the shape of the data. So first thing, for any data scientist role or any data analyst role, the first thing which is very important is the shape of the data, the shape of the distribution. And for this purpose, we use histograms. Histograms explains the shape of any data. It gives you the shape of any distribution. So data can be normally distributed, data can have different patterns, right? So for that purpose, if we want to know that whether my data is normally distributed or not, or whether my data is bell shaped or not, for that purpose we use histograms. So let's look into the next important thing, and that is called the shape of the distribution. So what are the various shapes we have? The first is called the normal distributed data, which is called the bell shaped data. The second important thing is called as the left skewed distribution data. So data which is skewed in nature. I'll discuss about skewness and ketosis in some other session. Right now, I'll just give you a brief overview about it. Third important thing is the right skewed distribution, and the fourth one is called as ketosis. So ketosis can be ketosis can be of two types. First is called plateaukurtic and another is called lipokurtic. So let's discuss one by one. The first is obviously the most famous one, and that is called the normal distributed data. So whenever we look at the normal distribution graph, we all know that it is a bell-shaped graph, and every analyst wants their data to be in bell shape, although we all know that practically it is not possible that every data should be a bell-shaped curve. But the common properties of normal distribution is, so at the center of this distribution, the mean, median and mode is equal, and the bell is divided into two equal parts. So this is the whole value of this curve is 1, and left hand side is of 0.5 and right hand side is of 0.5. So these are some basic properties. We will be discussing this also when we'll be discussing about distributions. So this could be the one of the types of distribution which we can see in our data. Another important shape which we see in our data is called right skewed, and right skewed data looks like this. So in here you can see the center point is here, but what we observe that the data is completely lying on one side, and that is on the right hand side, and that is why it is called right skewed. When the data is piled up on one side and it becomes a longer tail on the right hand side, then it is called right skewed data. Another shape which we see is called left skewed data. Left skewed data means when the data is skewed on the left hand side. So you can see that most of the data is lying on the left hand side, and we have a longer tail on the left hand side, so it is called as left skewed data, right? And the fourth shape which we see is called ketosis. So ketosis, we can see that in this graph, in this diagram, I have shown you the normal curve, which is this one, and you have two another distributions. One is this one, the longer one. So this, you can see that all the data has been concentrated in this zone only, and that is why it is showing you a taller shape. So whenever we have a taller shape, we say it is a positive ketosis, right? On the other side, we can have a plateau kind of structure. This is a plateau kind of structure, you can see, and this is called negative ketosis. So ketosis is also one of the problems with the data. So either the data can have an issue of skewness, where it can be right skewed or it can be left skewed, or the data can have another issue which is of ketosis. So ketosis can be of plateaukurtic, when the data is, the shape becomes like a plateau, or it can have a lipokurtic, when it leaps up as a tall structure. So these are the certain distribution which we can see in our data, and histogram has that power that whenever we draw histogram in our data, we are able to analyze whether our data is normally distributed, whether its data is left skewed, whether it is right skewed, or whether it has an issue of ketosis. So this was a small session to explain you what is histogram and how it helps our data analyst. So thanks for joining in this session. In the next session, we will talk about box plots and its application. Thank you.